Hey guys, I know it's been a long time between videos, and whilst I haven't been posting for a while, I certainly haven't been idle. I did have a plan to do a great big video on all the things I've been doing since we last spoke, but I get the feeling that that's something that would just waffle on for far too long. So I thought I'd do this update video to let you guys know where I am up to and what my plans are for this coming year, and give you a rundown on some of the projects that I have been doing since I've last posted. And because it has been such a long time between updates, the things that I'm talking about in this video are not necessarily in the order in which I've done them. In the last video that I've put up, you would have seen that I've finished the granny flat out the back. Since then, I have done quite a few improvements to the old homestead. Starting with where I finished last, I've gone back to the outside area of the granny flat by adding in a roof that covers up the front deck section. It's a little bit unique in its design, and what I've come up with is this twisting style of roof that allows me to have the straight edge at the front where you can see the pots hanging there, and then the section of the roof that's mounted to the house can follow the angle that cuts above the door and window so that nothing obstructs your view whilst you're looking out. Apart from the fact that it has that spiralling sort of look to it, it was a relatively simple build. I just had to work on a section by section basis when it came to the mounting of the tin and the lining board underneath, because as you can imagine, each one of these sections is a slightly different shape and size to the last. But overall it's pretty simple. It's an exterior grade treated pine with the corrugated metal for the roofing. Because it's an exterior roof, I didn't really bother with any insulation between the tin and the panelling. The panelling is just a 3mm plyboard, and there's just an air gap between it and the tin. And then everything's been painted with the same decking oil to pretty much just match in with what we've got at floor level. Moving down to the main house, I've also given the deck area down there its own roof. It's been a little bit more complicated, that one. The roof there also incorporates the man cave area, and you may have seen in the past that I've had leak issues into the man cave for quite some time, so there was a good excuse there to sort of kill two birds with one stone and get that roof replaced as well. As a result, I had to demolish the old roof that was on it, and then come up with a solution that both fixed that and got what I was looking for as far as the deck was concerned. The reason why that was a little bit more complicated is I wanted to do this custom beam at the front that matched the edge of the deck. Now, the edge of the deck follows kind of like an S shape that wraps around the fire pit area, and then sort of where the deck goes down and connects to the house, I wanted to follow that sort of pattern. It took a little bit of head scratching to work that out, and speaking to a couple of people, it initially looked like it wouldn't be something I'd be able to do. But I worked out by keeping that piece made from metal rather than wood, I was able to modify and bend and reshape a purling beam that I was able to shape into that snaking pattern that I was after. And then the rest of the construction was pretty much traditional sort of timber beams that I've been able to attach that custom piece to so that I could maintain that shape. So everything was a little bit more complicated with that layout. I had to do a custom box gutter for where the two buildings connect. The workshop and my man cave area, which used to be the old garage, are connected, which means there used to be a guttering there, which is where I think some of those water leaks was coming from. That had to be removed out of the equation, and we needed to get a custom gutter that would have to sort of take into consideration the extra flow of water, given that the roof catchment was pretty much sort of doubling in size. So I worked out a design for a box gutter, which is probably about 3 times larger than it needs to be for the volume of water it needs to carry, and that's sandwiched in between the two buildings, so that it also has sort of overflow points at both ends of the guttering, so that it can never get to a point where overflow would ever make it into the building. The lining on this one pretty much follows the same principle of Bum's granny flat. The big difference between the two is that the ones that I did at the granny flat were individual panels, whereas these ones are individual pieces that make up the panel section. That took a lot more time. They were all pre-painted and that sort of stuff before they went up there, and again they had to be individually measured up and cut to match the curves and what was going on in that section, and yeah, it took a while. And that obviously had to incorporate all the lighting and stuff that you can see there as well. Apart from that, the Zen garden area has received a bit of an upgrade as well. We've added in quite a few plants and landscaping bits. This is one of those sort of areas that I might do another video on later on, because for anybody who doesn't know, this is the old driveway section, and underneath all the white gravel there is just concrete. So this is essentially what you'd call a soilless garden. And if anybody's interested, I might do an individual update on how to achieve that effect with these sort of plants. We've got a nice little fairy garden there and a little water feature going there as well. And you can see that I've also enclosed it there with some shade cloth, which makes for some nice privacy screening and also creates a really nice environment for night time as well. I also found a really good deal on a 2-person sauna that you can see that we've incorporated into that section as well. So between that and the hot tub and the egg chair that you can see hanging there, it's given us a really nice sort of chill out zone to relax in as well. So apart from those bits around our place, I've also been doing a lot of stuff out in the wider world. One of the bigger renovations that I've done was to go back to my niece's house and continue with some of the renovations that she wanted. You may remember her place from some of the previous videos that I've done, where we converted the back section of her house into an open plan kitchen and dining room area. Everything came out pretty well with that one, and moving on to this next section of renovation pretty much dwarfs that build in terms of what needed to be done. So to give you an idea, this is the basic layout of the house before we started work. This is the deck out the front, the lounge room area that we'll be working in, bedroom 1, hallway area, bedroom 2, is the bathroom and toilet, and then bedroom 3. And the section off to the left there is the bit that we renovated last time. We basically rebuilt the entire layout of the house on the inside. To give you an idea, the only thing we didn't touch was the 3 bedrooms that existed. But with the ideas that she had in mind, what we were able to do was essentially take it from a 1-bathroom, 3-bedroom house, actually take it to a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house without doing anything with the internal footprint of the house. Simply by adding and shifting some walls around and sort of reconfiguring the usage layout, we did some major improvements. So we pretty much started on the outside with the modification of the deck. To utilise the space better, we needed to move that front door, and this is really the only area where we made a small modification to that front section of the house. We basically pushed out a little box area onto the existing deck space, and that allowed for the front door to be moved, and then that section could be boxed up and walled off from the outside. And then an internal door was cut into the main bedroom to allow access into that section, and then that section became a walk-in wardrobe, which then you walk through the wardrobe into their ensuite bathroom. So the new layout ends up being like this. We have that deck area which has been modified slightly and enlarged a little bit just to make it a better deck. The front door has been moved over so that you now enter into the lounge room area rather than into a hallway. The lounge room section was divided to enclose this little area that was used, I think, as a dining room at some point in the original design. That then gave us a section down the center of the house that included that front area where the front door used to be, that we were able to divide up in such a way to get the additional bathroom that we were after, which means that when the old bathroom was decommissioned, that gave us the space for that 4th bedroom. And when we were building that room, we did an additional work with that room to soundproof it really well because it's being used as a studio. The other thing that we did in there was to build a Murphy bed into it so that it is still a usable bedroom. And then around the Murphy bed, I built a really heavy-duty set of shelving to accommodate Adam's record collection. So yeah, what we ended up with basically was a brand new deck section, a new lounge room layout, 2 new bathroom areas, 1 bathroom, 1 ensuite. A full-size walk-in wardrobe. And then a studio bedroom where they were able to set up the full sound studio, along with that fold-down Murphy bed. The Murphy bed idea came out of the one that I did for Mum's place. Since then, they've been pretty popular in my families, and everybody's sort of been ringing up sort of wanting one. So my brother now has one, my sister now has one, my niece now has one, and my great nephew now has one. And I also built one for myself in our spare bedroom. So it's been a bit of a Murphy bed marathon as far as that's concerned, but just the sheer practicality of having a room set up that isn't constantly taken up by a bed that's barely ever used is certainly a great idea. So what else have I been doing? Well, apart from that, again, I've done a lot of different renos around the place. As I said, the bed setup that I did for my sister involved me flying down to Tasmania. I was down there for a week or so, where to do that one we did a shipping container conversion that we completely lined on the inside to make it into a proper room, including cutting in a window and door. And then once again, we worked out a shelving system and incorporated that folding bed idea so that they could use that as a library room and study, and again have it as a spare bedroom attached to their house for whenever they have visitors. I then flew back down to their place a couple of months later, and then once again we built a big roof over their deck area as well, which also incorporated the covering up of the container to add as a protective roof for that area too. There's also been dozens of other smaller jobs that I've been doing here and there that I won't go into. But needless to say, I certainly haven't been sitting idle. The other big personal renovation I've been working on is this one. After Sally's renovation, it became really clear to me that my fitness level had slipped quite a lot, and I just basically had to do something about it. And since having my foot surgery all sorted out, it means that I can walk properly now. So I've been walking every morning now and just basically trying to get my health back under control and get my fitness level back up. To date, I've lost about 30 kilos. I want to lose an extra 10 to be where I want to be, but I'm feeling a lot healthier and a lot stronger for the sake of it. And it's definitely something that I'm going to be working to maintain as I'm moving forward with this stuff. The workshop has been upgraded as well. There's been a few new toys that I've been able to get since we last spoke. I finally, after many years, have got myself a metalworking lathe. I've also been able to get a 20-ton press, and I've got a dust extractor as well. All of which haven't been used at this point. So they've been sitting there for the better part of 18 months, coming up to 2 years now, since I bought them. I haven't even used them yet with everything else that's been going on. Apart from that, the other projects I've got on the boil are still on the boil. I've only just recently, over the Christmas period, have had the light and sound kit arrive from America for the Ghostbusters Proton Pack. So that's something that I'll be tackling in some new videos. With the retidying up of the workshop and getting in of the new tools, Frank is going to be getting some upgrades. I've made up a table there for him so that he can be laid out, so that I can break down individual parts that I want to upgrade and repair. So that will see me doing some lathe work to replace some of the pistons and some other bits and pieces associated with his construction. But anyway, without waffling on too much longer and just this video going on forever and ever, if you're interested in me doing any individual videos on how I did the deck, or how I did the garden area, or how I did this, that, the other, then just drop a comment in the comment section, and I could look at doing those possibly as individual videos, or just answer your questions individually. But apart from all that, I think that's pretty good for now. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. I think everybody has had a lot of disruption over these past couple of years. One of the unfortunate disruptions that we did have during that time frame is that we lost one of our four-legged family members in Bonnie. She'd been with us for a very long time, and she just was getting really old and really slow, and she got to the point where she just really couldn't walk or get around anymore. So we lost her again in that sort of time frame as well. The next worry we had was with Milo, because we thought with Bonnie being gone and his age and the health issues that he's had, that we'd end up losing him too. And he got really down and quite mopey as well. We could tell that he was missing her as well. So about 12 months after we lost Bonnie, we decided we'd get another dog. And we had a bit of look around, and we found Marley. Marley is a brindle-coloured American Staffy. She's on the smaller side herself when it comes to her breed. We got her as a puppy. You can almost see immediate lift in the way Milo was getting around the house. He now had this little thing that was chasing him around all the place, and before too long they became fast friends, and they're pretty much inseparable now. The other thing that has happened since then is Milo was on anti-seizure medication, which is one of the things that was making him a bit dopey, and we haven't had any problems with him since he has had that major health scare where he had a seizure. And we spoke to the veterinarian and all the rest of it, and we were able to very slowly wean him off those anti-seizure meds. He's been off them now for almost over a year, and he hasn't had any incidents at all. That again has just made him a new dog sort of thing, so he's a lot more active. Again, he's getting on in age now as well. He's about 7-8 year old, but he's like a new dog now that this new little friend of his is chasing him around the place.